Hey, welcome back everybody. So for the last 7 years, I have been using this old 85 1.8 Sony lens that came out, I think about 2016, 2017, and I just have never had a need to upgrade. I think around that same time, Sony did release their 85 G Master 1.4 version of that lens, and it was one of their first, as many would know. For its time, it was a great portrait lens. But for me, becoming a new portrait photographer back like 7 years ago, this is all I needed. Plus, I enjoy the portability and size of this. Until now, I've finally talked myself into upgrading my 85 lens. And what a great opportunity for Sony to release their new G Master 1.4. This was a much needed upgrade that many Sony shooters know and was waiting on. I know many people were hoping for a 1.2 version of this lens, but honestly, I think the 1.4 was a good decision that they made. Part of that being that we can still get the portability and size of this lens. Comparing this to my 50 G Master 1.4, it's not too far off from that size. Now, coming from this size to this, there's definitely a difference. The only downside, I wouldn't say much of a downside, but all my other lenses are 67mm filter thread, this being a 77mm filter thread. So one thing that I couldn't find on YouTube or just anywhere was two comparisons between this lens and this lens. I've seen many comparisons between this G Master 2 against the first, the Sigma 85 1.4, but I really wanted to see if someone compared this lens to this lens before I made that decision. So I decided to make this video for that purpose. And I took this out on a photo shoot where I did compare the OG 85 1.8 against the new G Master 2 1.4. In these first set of shots, I kept the aperture at 1.8, comparing that against the 1.8 aperture on the G Master. So right off the bat, what I can tell are two things. The OG lens has a softer look to it. It's not as contrast to the image. And against the G Master, I do see a lot more contrast. Autofocus is a lot quicker and snappier. And if I crop in here 100% on this image, on the left is the 1.8 version, and on the right is the G Master 2. And you can clearly see there's a difference in sharpness here. Settings are the same, and you can clearly see the sharpness differences. I started noticing that sharpness differences in a few of my other photos, but you can see here, in the last 7 years, I've shot a lot. I shot a lot of great portraits with this lens. And I'm looking forward to doing more with this. So no regrets on buying this lens in itself. And let me know if there's anything else you want me to compare, maybe against the 50 1.4, this 85 1.4, or there's another lens you want me to do a comparison on. Now, I do plan on doing some more video testing on this, which I have done on this lens. I did take this out on a video shoot on a nice kind of sunset day. And again, definitely autofocus picked up on the subject. I had this on a gimbal. This lens being able to switch between foreground and background is very impressive. So this is where I think this lens shines, especially if you're one that's going to be planning to do video. But if you're someone that's going to be sticking around pictures and you have this lens already, I would still say it's worth the upgrade. This is definitely a starter lens, I can say, for portraiture if you're just someone that wants to be on a budget. But if you're looking for that extra sharpness, that extra contrast, and the upgraded autofocus, definitely the new G Master 2 is the lens for me. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week with another video.